Tankless hot water heater descaling. It's a pretty easy process. I'm gonna show you how to do that now. All right, so we got 12 tankless water heaters over here at Spring Hill. They're Navien. Um, they're all cascaded together. So before, if you have this water heater, this type of water heater, before you can do a descaling, if they're cascaded together, you're going to have to remove the cascade off of them, which is basically the communication that's between all of these units. My master unit is right here, and basically to take it out of cascade is very easy. You just hit the diagnostics button and the reset button. So I'm going to do that now. Hold it for 5 seconds. Wait. All right, it's out. So they'll all, basically it'll release all of these tankless units. It'll end the communication without having to take the wires out. But they'll all still run, but they'll be running independently. Like this one. This one's still running right now. It all still remains on the demand of water you need that it's calling for. So you can see the flame right there. It's still running, so it won't affect your hot water system as much as it would if you was just to turn them all off. So it's best to do it during the time where hot water is not at a large demand. And I like to choose about 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock. And that's when I start mine. All right, to do a tankless descaling of your units, it's best to go ahead and buy a kit for it. I have the Calci-free tankless water heater flush kit. This kit right here, I got it off Granger, but you can buy several different kits. There's a couple available on Ferguson. Odie makes a kit called the Haymaker. Usually, if you buy a kit, they'll give you at least one bottle of their solution. Calci-free makes a powdered solution that comes in a jug. Mix it in with 2 gallons of hot water. So we're gonna go through here and look at the parts. All right, so with your unit, you'll get some hoses. They're basically washing machine hoses. You'll get 2 of them. Usually one of them will both have threaded ends on them, the female on both ends, and this other one has a female on one end and it's open on the other. That's where it'll discharge for the solution. Next is a sump pump. You'll get a little small sump pump with the kit. You'll use that. And with the Calci-free, they provide this little screen. I think it's pretty cool. You set it down in the bucket, and that way you set your sump pump on top of it and it's not touching the bottom. So all that sediment that's coming out of the hot water heater will float down to the bottom, and it won't constantly be sucking it up and sticking it back in your water heater through the cycle. So I recommend the Calci-free. That's why I chose it. All right, so the first thing before hooking up any of your stuff, you have these servicing valves down here. You got your cold water in and your hot water out. First thing you want to do is go ahead and turn off the hot. Next thing you want to do is hook up your exit hose to the servicing valve on the hot side, and it'll be right there. Now, with your recirculation and your cold water supply still on, get your 5-gallon bucket, point your hose at it, and discharge that line. Open that valve up on the servicing part on the hot side. Now, if you're needing to do a tankless flush and you haven't bought any solution, you can use distilled vinegar. It's approved by Navien. You can still use that. I would recommend about 2 gallons of white distilled vinegar per unit. And so we'll put that in now. Drop your filter stand with the long side down. Drop your sump pump in. Do not plug it up yet. Hook the hose that's coming from your sump pump to the servicing valve on the cold side, the cold water supply. Do not open this up yet, and go ahead and close your cold water supply off. At this point, you want to make sure that your cold water supply is off, your hot water line is turned off, and now you want to turn off your recirculation. Go ahead and open up the inlet side to your that you got your sump pump hooked up to. Now hook your sump pump up. Come back and check the exit hose and make sure it's running. So right now it's not coming out right now. So what is happening is, even though we've taken it out of cascade, it needs a little bump. So what you want to do is, with all that on, go over here to your cold water supply, and you just want to bump it one time to open up that entrance, and then turn it off. Open up your exit valve, and now you're cycling. See, water's already brown. It's getting good and clean. What you want to do is, some people let them run for 20 to 30 minutes. I've been letting mine run for about 45. And you know, if you got 12 units, you might not be able to do every single one of them in a day, because once it gets towards 2 o'clock, I like to go ahead and shut it down and then start again the next day. So when I get ready to cycle annually, semi-annually, I'll do 3 to 4 units per day over a course of 3 or 4 days. So at this point, you want to just let that run. The longer it runs, it'll get dirtier and dirtier. But after 40, once it gets to be about 45 minutes of cycling, it's really not necessary to keep on going. So we'll come back then, and I'll show you how to unhook this and put it back in cascade. So after you've waited 45 minutes, when you come back, it should look just like this. It should have a clean, clear tint to it, a blue tint. You might see some sediment in the bottom. So first thing you want to do now is go unplug the sump pump. Next thing you want to do is turn off the service valve on your cold water in. Now remove your sump, the hose that's coming from your sump pump. Now, with your exit hose still hooked up and the valve still turned on, you want to go ahead and do a flush. So take your bucket, make sure you emptied it out from the solution cycle, and then turn on your cold water valve to go ahead and start flushing this tank. You want to get all that solution out of there. Brown. All that. You're about halfway through. Turn your recirculation line on too. You want to keep emptying your bucket and turning on the cold until that water runs clear. Let it run and start to clear up a little bit. You want to make sure you get all of that vinegar out there in brown water. You can now go ahead and turn off the exit valve on your hot water service. Now, once you did a full flush of your water heater, tankless water heater, and it's cleared back up, you want to make sure all your valves are turned back off, including all the service valves should be turned off permanently from now on. But make sure your recirc your hot and your cold is still turned off. And what you want to do is go right here to this cold water inlet filter and remove it. You want to get this cleaned up before you supply water back to the hotel. You saw that sediment that got trapped in there during the cycle. You definitely want to go ahead and clean that out. You just beat that out. I'm going to take it to the air compressor and blow mine out. All right, once you put that filter back in, your cold water inlet filter, you want to turn your cold supply back on. All right, turn your recirculation back on. Now, before you turn on your hot water supply, go ahead and purge it. There should be a valve right here, a temper valve. Just pull on it and just let it drain for just a little bit, maybe a few seconds, just to make sure if there's any air trapped in the system, go ahead and get that out before you supply water back to the hotel through this unit. All right, we'll turn that back on. And then turn your hot water valve back on. So now we're back up and running. Flame is on. You can now plug your unit back up. I've already plugged mine up. All right, so whether you've done one water heater, two water heaters, or all of your water heaters for the day, at the end of the day, before you leave, you want to go ahead and put your system back into a cascaded system, so they'll be communicating with each other. Your system will go back to normal. So what you want to do is go over to your master unit. You want to hold your diagnostics button and the plus button for 5 seconds together. So I like to go ahead and pull my cord out, reset it, and so it's a lot easier like this. Sometimes you'll have issues and it won't want to act right, but just reset the unit. All right, there we go. Wait. So MAO, that stands for master unit. So now what you have here, all of your subunits have, they all reflect SL for slave. So you want to go in order of which ones you want. You want slave 1, well, this will be slave 1, slave 2, slave 3, slave 4, slave 5. I'll show you how to do it. So what you want to do is go to the unit that you want to be slave 1. You want to hold the diagnostics button and the minus button for at least 2 to 3 seconds. Wait, slave 1. And you want to keep going down the line doing the same thing. Hold the diagnostics button and the minus button. Slave 4. Now this is a replacement. So on these, on the newer 240A Ps, you want to hold down the OK button for 3 seconds to make it a slave. All right, ID 5 allocated. That means subunit number 5. Sometimes you got to get them, press them down exactly at the same time, or else they won't do it. So we make that slave 7. This one to be slave 8. Slave 9. Slave 10. And the last one to be slave 11. There. Now, once you have all of your units set to sub 1, sub 2, sub 3, you want to go back to the one that you made your master. And you want to go and hold the diagnostics button and the plus button for 5 seconds to lock it in. And then the temperature should change back to the original setting on all of them. So it kicked back on. The M stands for master. It's reflecting that now. So once you do that, just go around, check them, make sure they're all working fine. that you don't have any errors on any of them. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Now for Renai, it's a little bit of a different process, but I will tell you this: in doing this in these settings, don't mess with any of the dip switches. Um, just download your manual. I have the installation and operation manual for Navien. It's best to go ahead and download your manual if you're getting ready to do this. Check it out, especially if you have something different than what I have right here. But the descaling process is all the same. So that's it.